Hello folks, and welcome to Jack Reviews Musicals. My name is Jack, and this is Sven. I'm a musical theater superfan based in St. Louis, Missouri. This is my YouTube channel where I share my thoughts on all of the musical productions I see in town. And Sven here is going to join me in reviewing the Muny's now closed third production of their 107th season, Disney's Frozen, which played July 6th through the 14th of 2025. When the Muny announced that it was going to produce Frozen, I wasn't even surprised, because when the movie first came out in 2013, it became a phenomenon. People today are still singing the songs, they're still buying merch, they're still dressing up as the characters. I mean, it was the movie that brought Disney out of their post-Renaissance slump after their previous attempts with Tangled and The Princess and the Frog didn't work out like they wanted them to. In recent years, there's been a lot of backlash because of Frozen's ubiquity. There have been many a think piece about how Frozen led to Disney trying to bank off of its success by making movies using the same formula. Strong female leads with a twist villain and a fantastical setting with writing that feels more like an episode of The Simpsons than classic Disney. And for many, Disney milked that checklist for all that it was worth, actively leading Disney to becoming the horror show that it is right now. And those arguments are valid if their recent releases are any indication, but I think a lot of people forget that the reason why Disney was trying to replicate Frozen's success so much was because Frozen is actually a good movie. The characters are likable, the animation is gorgeous, the songs are iconic, and the writing is surprisingly honest. Instead of being overrated, I'm actually in the camp of people who think that Frozen is overhated, where the criticisms made by its detractors are disproportionate to the movie's quality. Interesting piece of Jack lore, I actually worked as a freelance babysitter when I was in high school, right around the time when Frozen first came out. So because of this, I watched Frozen a total of like 6 or 7 times in the span of 2 years. I rewatched the movie in prep for writing this review for the first time in 10 years, and it's still an impressive feat. Is it the best Disney animated feature ever? No, but it's a solid story for kids, and it actually has really good rewatchability value. Inevitably, there came the Broadway production, which premiered in 2017, highly acclaimed for its visual splendor, replicating the magic of the movie. So I was very intrigued to see how the Muny would bring Frozen to their stage. The irony is not lost on me that they presented Frozen during a St. Louis summer, which is notorious for getting very... The Muny's production of Frozen offered some of the most impressive technical wizardry that I have ever seen from them. But at the same time, the production had one aspect to it that detracted from the whole experience and actively worked against it. It's almost pointless to recap Frozen's story because you've probably already seen it, but I'll be nice. Elsa and Anna are the princesses of the far-off kingdom of Arendelle. They are total polar opposites of each other. Elsa is an awkward introvert, and Anna is an out-of-control little hellion. Elsa, the elder of the two sisters, is an introvert because she is a sorceress, born with the innate ability to control ice and snow, a power whose effects are based entirely on Elsa's emotions. The more emotional she is, the harder the ice is, and the more the snow becomes a storm. As little girls, Elsa and Anna take full advantage of this, creating a winter wonderland in their castle. They have all sorts of fun with this. They build snowmen, they sled, they make snow angels, all that good stuff. But one night, they're playing Ghost too far, and Elsa almost kills Anna. The King and Queen of Arendelle take Anna to a tribe of druids known as the Hidden Folk, who replaced the rock trolls in the original movie. The Hidden Folk save Anna's life, but at the cost of wiping out her memories of Elsa's powers. So now, they have to keep Elsa and Anna separated, so that Elsa doesn't hurt her again, much to Anna's consternation. Years go by, the King and Queen tragically die, and suddenly Elsa is crowned the Queen of Arendelle. And after years of being isolated from Elsa, Anna has become a social butterfly, willing to open herself up to anyone, including the handsome Prince Hans of the Southern Isles, whom Anna meets on the day of Elsa's coronation. The two of them have a meet-cute of literally bumping into each other. Upon getting to know each other better, they find that they have a lot in common, including Hans being an overlooked younger sibling. Hans has 12 older brothers that render it impossible for him to ascend beyond the rank of regent of the Southern Isles. So he decides to marry into true blue royalty, proposing marriage to Anna, upon which she says yes. They ask Elsa for her blessing, but they are rebuffed because they have only just met that day. The conversation is tough, and it eventually devolves into Anna admonishing Elsa, berating her for being so distant and closed off. Elsa becomes so angry at Anna's lack of understanding that she accidentally unleashes her powers in front of the entire court of Arendelle. Elsa, now afraid that everyone around her is seeing her as a monster, she flees into a self-imposed exile in the North Mountains. Elsa's emotional state becomes so heightened, she releases her powers to the fullest extent of its magnitude, covering the entire kingdom in ice and snow, with seemingly no course of action for reversing it. Anna, upon thinking that this is all her fault, she goes to find Elsa, in the hopes that she can convince her to come back and find a way to stop this eternal winter. Along the way, Anna teams up with some colorful characters. A mountain man named Kristoff, his reindeer companion Sven, and Olaf, a snowman who was brought to life by Elsa's magic. And the four of them get into an adventure of frigid proportions to save not only Arendelle, but Elsa herself from being consumed by a frozen heart. For anyone who has seen Frozen, in many cases multiple times, it has been hammered into us that Frozen is a story about the power of love. Which is no different from a lot of other Disney stories. But on the other hand, Frozen approaches this from a perspective that is very modern. The journeys that Elsa and Anna go through are actually very relevant to issues that kids are going through nowadays. Elsa is an introvert who has to learn to see the value of humanity and connect with her people in a meaningful way. Anna, on the flip side, is an extrovert who has to learn to not give too much of herself, how to not overshare to the point of being taken advantage of, which is a brilliant setup for a very important betrayal that happens to Anna in Act 2. Yeah, the power of love message is cheesy, but it's an important one for kids to have ingrained in their minds, and it's executed well enough to be engaging for both kids and adults. In fact, in the stage version, they actually updated a few things. Frozen's husband and wife songwriting team Robert Lopez and Kristen Anderson Lopez added a dozen new songs for the show. My favorite of them being What Do You Know About Love, the musicalization of the argument that Anna and Kristoff have about the rushed engagement to Hans, and Monster, which comes after Elsa strikes Anna in Act 2, which adds an even bigger time crunch to the story. It gives No Good Deed from Wicked vibes, which is funny because of the Idina Menzel of it all. The film's screenwriter and director Jennifer Lee wrote the book for the musical, and she actually expanded some scenes to pad out the length as well. My favorite addition that Lee made was the prologue, which was rushed in the movie but given a lot of time here. They established the sisters' personalities a lot better, the songs together they have are cute, the presence of their parents, the king and queen, becomes more pervasive in the story, and it introduces the hidden folk as the show's magical narrator figures who feel like they are conjuring the show as it's progressing. In the Muny's production, director John Tartaglia certainly conjures that sensation of magic throughout the show. At every turn you're wondering, how do they do that? Tartaglia worked with the production's design team to create special effects that have never been seen before on the Muny stage. Set designer Tiana Bialysjak paints the Muny stage in this fractal snowflake ice crystal motif, with booms that slide across the stage, the rotating turntable, real real snow, even trapdoors. Bielija collaborated with lighting designer Jason Lyons to create booms that have mapping light projections on them. They blend in with Kylie Laura's video projections that honestly look like they could have been made by a Disney animator. The costumes by Robin L. McGee look just like the movie, featuring one of the most iconic quick changes ever committed to stage, where in Let It Go, Elsa changes in a millisecond from her royal gown to her Snow Queen dress. By far the most revolutionary special effect that this production had to offer was its use of laser beams designed by Rob Denton, working with lighting designer Jason Lyons to create ice crystals out of pure light. There's even a moment where they use a combination of lasers, lights, and stage haze to create the Northern Lights. That moment honestly blew my mind, and it opened up a lot of possibilities as to what could be done with theater lighting. I think this production deserves at least a nomination for Outstanding Lighting Design in a Musical. The Muny did excellent work in translating the spectacle of the film to the stage in ways that for the Muny were groundbreaking. Now, as I teased at the beginning, there was one aspect of the production that really detracted it for me, and it was, oddly enough, the acting. I did not care for a lot of the performances in this production, which was very strange. Director John Tartaglia crafted a style of acting from the cast that felt very broad, taking what were solid character performances from the movie's cast, and I kinda hate to say it, dumbing it down. Hannah Corno and Patty Murin as Elsa and Anna respectively were way too old to be playing what are ostensibly very young adults. Now, Corno had a firm grasp on Elsa's coldness, pun absolutely intended, and Murin, who was actually the original Anna in Broadway in 2017, she gave a take-no-prisoners energized performance portraying Anna's kookiness. But their stage presence and their chemistry together as sisters just entering adulthood felt more to me like an affectation. It didn't quite look or feel right to me. I was more convinced by the actors playing their younger selves in the prologue. The younger versions of Elsa and Anna were played by Malia Strawbridge and Isla Turner, respectively. Their chemistry together was sparkling. The way that they portrayed their respective poise and even innocence was really strong. Strawbridge and Turner did a really great job of gripping me into these characters from the jump. Jelani Remy as Kristoff is a bit too clean, with not enough of that roguish, dangerous quality to him. Sven and Olaf were portrayed as puppet characters, with puppets designed by Eric Wright. And while I normally love Eric Wright's work, I found the puppets in this to be kind of lacking. Sven ended up looking like one of those goofy horse costumes where two people play the head and the rear, and the design was very blocky and cartoonish. It looked nothing like how he did in the movie. I also found it odd that only the head puppeteer, Andrew A. Kano, was credited as Sven and not the rear puppet. At least give them some kind of credit. And I really did not enjoy Kennedy Kanagawa's portrayal of Olaf. While I thought his puppeteering was fine, I mean, the actual puppet design was okay, if a bit too big for the character's actual proportions. His delivery and vocals made Olaf way too dopey. Like he's aware he's a silly Disney sidekick. And I don't know, it really overemphasizes Olaf's point in the story. Compared to how understated Olaf was in the movie, the way that Olaf was portrayed at the Muny made the production feel more like a stereotypical children's musical, which I'm sorry to say, I kind of expected better. The acting from the rest of the cast was serviceable. Due to an injury in the cast, director John Tartaglia had to step into the role of Oaken's wandering trading post and sauna, leading the extremely bizarre Act 2 opener Higa. Bobby Conte is appropriately charming as Prince Hans, a charm that later gives way to genuine menace. Jared Gertner is hilarious as the Duke of Wesselton, a snooty diplomat who thinks he's more charming and graceful than he actually is. Chris Stevens and Cecilia Snow were at turns eccentric and stoic as the hidden folk druids Pabby and Balda. Even the King and Queen, played by Jonah D. Winston and Ann Sanders respectively, were convincing in their regality and the love that they have for their daughters. Their expanded presence in the stage version of Frozen was a very welcome one. What kept me invested throughout the show were the visuals, which were truly marvelous. The musical direction by Daryl Archibald, which gave all of the iconic songs and many more their due. The vocals from the cast were very well done, and the orchestra was, again, pun absolutely intended, chilling. And of course the choreography by Patrick O'Neill, John Tartaglia's most frequent collaborator. The dancing is full of energy and it's lots of fun, especially in the number Fixer Upper with the Hidden Folk. The Muny's Frozen cast a very wide net to their child audience demographic, but I think they did it a bit too well. The production's very big, very broad performance style made the story's content feel pandering, and I don't think that was Frozen's original appeal. The storytelling was good, the music was good, the visual language was so good, but if these performances were, I'm sorry to say, shallow, I'm not really gonna care for these characters that I've actually grown to really like over the years. Maybe I've just been spoiled. Maybe I've invested too much. Maybe my standards are too high. For me, it did not quite make the grade. But what do I know? Did you see the Muny's production of Frozen? If so, what did you think about it? Whatever it is, whatever you think, comment below and let me know. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any more St. Louis musical theater reviews coming very soon. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, Sven, long live the musical!